Gonna have a nasty podcast without no Nesty. Oh,
Nesty, maybe made by Nestle.
oh yeah, get the good whiff of that.
Get that Nesty stank all up in there.
What a bad idea. Welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Can't possibly run that as an intro.
It's like smelling salts. When you're on the ice, get a quick whiff. Oh yeah, the Leafs suck. How's it going?
Fires you up. There you go.
You know, the good thing is though too. I mean, you can get more of the aroma as you use the weed whacker from Manscaped.
Yeah,
You clear out those nose hairs, so there's really no obstruction.
they should sell as a combo.
I had to remember what the weed whacker was. I'm like, what fucking aroma are you searching for?
How dare you forget about our sponsored products?
I know. I get that confused with the lawnmower.
I mean, our last episode title was Toddler Dropkick. Can we get away with Pelvic Aroma?
I mean, we can put whatever the hell we want, realistically.
True.
Man, I
It's
missed
just
the
our
toddler
SEO is gonna be
dropkick,
shit.
apparently. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
our
I-
SEO is gonna be terrible.
Out of all the potential episode titles from Monday, the Endo and I somehow came up with. Oh yeah, hey Sim, welcome back. Fuck it. I guess this is the start of the podcast. You did it, Endo. Congratulations. You made it
Yeah.
happen.
Snort
Yeah.
cool.
So I had about 5 different potential options for the episode title. I put it out on Twitter, and Toddler Dropkick won. A show that you weren't on, Sin, but how are you now that you're back?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty okay. A lot of craziness these last weekend and shit, but
As
we're
I
here
said
now.
on Monday, that is your story to tell if you were to choose to, because I agree,
Yeah.
it's some craziness.
I don't know. I've told it a few times. I'll tell an abridged version. All right. So I went out to coffee with a friend / casual date, and on my way home, driving over Business Loop 80, which is the shittiest fucking highway in all of Sacramento. It's awful. People drive like maniacs, and it was at commuter time on a Friday too, so trafficy and crap. So just sitting in traffic, I get rammed from behind. And that's like, okay, that sucks. I don't, you don't know the extent of your damage. Like, all right, now I gotta fucking stop what I'm doing and exchange info with this person. And as I'm doing that, I look in my rear view, truck fucking goes crazy from out behind me and takes off. So I gotta chase him down off the freeway, past lights, even a red one, which he ran, then turned green for me a little bit later. So like destiny was on my side, and he turns down into this neighborhood and then makes another turn trying to break line of sight. Unfortunately, he drives right into a fucking cul-de-sac. I got you, bitch. And so I able to make him stop. He gets out and then begs me not to report him on this vehicle, wants me to come to his house so he can report it on a personal vehicle instead. And I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. But I'm just like, sure, okay, yeah, what's your name? What's your address? Like, yeah, give me all this shit. Because at that point, I knew that he's not going to do the right thing. And for a brief moment there, I was like, I kind of want to help this person, but then I realized this is fucking stupid. This is already stupid enough of me once the adrenaline faded to it. Why did I chase this person who was willing to run from the scene of an accident? Who knows what the fuck else he could have been up to? And then I'm in a neighborhood alone with him, essentially almost cornering him.
Yep, that is exactly what you did.
Yeah. So, but I'm good. I'm here, right? This is real. And then from there it's just been a hassle of police reports. And first, again, over the entire weekend before, because I couldn't file a report until Monday because I have to do it in person with the CHP, California Highway Patrol. So the weekend I was able to text him a couple times, or he was trying to text me, still begging me not to report his shit. I was just like, just do the right thing. Like, just give me the information and it doesn't have to come to anything else. But yeah, he didn't. And so police report had to be filed. Now I finally got in contact with his work. Now he's lying to his work saying, oh, he didn't actually run. He was just getting off the freeway to stop. And yeah, you know what? Other people are going to other people. Yeah, other people are going to other people. And I'm good. I'm safe. Just a very, very minor kind of concussion, which I definitely feel completely worked through now. That's no joke, by the way, guys. You will have symptoms, and it's a little bit frustrating. And yeah, we're here. The insurance is hit what he's covered under is 100% taking liability, which is nice. So I won't have to pay a cent out of pocket.
The moral of the story is people are great.
Yeah.
Drive safe.
Don't drive.
Yeah, don't drive. Move to a city like Helsinki where it's not mandatory for you to even own a car.
Yes. Fuck yes. Going back there soon, by the way.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Breaking news.
Yeah. I'm not completely
So,
locked
when-
in, but yeah,
I was
sometime in
gonna
the
say,
next couple
when
weeks.
should we schedule you to be missing shows?
Yeah, sometime in the next couple weeks. It'll be a shorter trip. I won't spend a month there. I'll be like a 1 week, 10-day, probably like a 10-day affair. 2 weeks max. We'll see.
Gonna miss out on all that sweet, sweet NHL 2K10.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate.
What are
no,
you
he'll
gonna
play
do?
remote. He'll have his PC over there and just.
Well, actually, if you time
Playing
it
1,000
correctly,
things.
you time it correctly with God of War coming out, I won't be playing 2K10 anyway because I'll be too busy with that.
When does God of War come out?
November 9th.
Oh, yes, yeah. Then I might not miss a beat. Like
We're
it'll
in
be
luck.
like mid to late month is when I'm shooting for.
Speaking of mid, don't be mid when it comes to your self-grooming care. Of course, this podcast, as always, is brought to you by our lovely friends at Manscaped. That is manscaped.com. You can use the code Tougie, Tougie, at checkout for 20% off your order and free shipping. Free. 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 That's manscaped.com. Code Tougie for all of your self-grooming needs, whether it be Endo's favorite cylindrical deodorants. Honestly, I'm going to be honest, some top-notch boxers options as well. They're fantastic. They are fantastic. Anything that you need. We already mentioned the lovely weed whacker for those pesky nose hairs, especially as you get older, kids. Look out. It's going to sneak up on you. You're going to be like, what the hell? I can't breathe. That's where the weed whacker comes in. Thank you to Manscaped. Thank you to you guys for listening. And that's it for the show. Goodbye. No, I'm kidding. A nice 8-minute sprint, if that, for the sake of the show. I will say, though, we don't have as much to talk about today. It's been a fairly quiet couple of days.
What was up with like
the...
Wednesday when like no one played? That was weird.
Yeah, it was. There were 3 games.
I had
Wednesday night?
0 fantasy games. Oh wow, maybe it was. I don't know. It was one day. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I think there were 3 games last night, which that's happened a couple of times where it's like, okay, here's 12 games, and the next day it's just no one's playing.
Yeah.
The NHL scheduling is and always will be a bit of an enigma. That said, getting into today's show, a hockey podcast that's not really a hockey podcast, we actually don't have any ridiculous, absurd questions. I was surprised, if not a little bit disappointed. But there is kind of a continuation of a topic that Endo and I talked about on Monday in regards to specifically the Vancouver Canucks, with the idea of that fan base having a very sad time at the moment, with that team, I believe, currently being 0-5-2, as we'll talk about a bit later on. We do have some questions sprinkled in throughout the show, but this main question comes from Reds Rebels. Why are fan bases so quick to turn from everything is awesome and great to burn it all down and trade everyone so quickly? So, Sin, it's kind of a good opportunity for you to kind of give your opinion on, like, hey, a team that's 0-5-2 that has playoff aspirations, do you kind of agree with the idea of throw the toys out to pram, it's over? Is it just like, because my point was the St. Louis Blues in 2019 were dead last in January, and then they won the cup.
Yeah, I think the Canucks, well, who knows if that's in their future? They're still young. They have a lot of good young core pieces. I think they're still trying to put the right pieces around. And like, we knew they didn't have it. Bruce Boudreau gave him a shot in the arm, sure, but you are still suffering the effects of Jim Benning. Like, I don't think people, like, you realize just how much like those effects are still there. OEL, Tyler Myers, like, these are some hefty contracts that, like, you know, if they don't overplay, then you're overpaying. So I think it depends on the situation. Some teams turning around quickly, but, you know, it makes more sense. And I don't think the Canucks fans should at this point. I think you need to retool it, obviously. But I think humans are very, very emotional creatures, obviously. Tribalism gets us good. Really gets our fucking juices flowing. And we have the highest recency bias of all time. Like, it's really easy to be like, shit, this is going horribly. This is how it's going to be. It's very easy to get stuck in that cyclical thinking. So I think that's kind of why sports fans, especially because it's irrational. Why do you cheer for this team? Because you cheer for it. Like,
I just do.
Yeah, you just do. Like, it's an irrational thing. So you're going to react irrationally to a lot of these goings on, especially when it makes you emotional, which everyone has that sort of investment.
You summed it up pretty damn well.
I was like, oh shit.
You had a me moment where it's just like, oh shit, no one's saying anything. Did I say something stupid?
Yeah,
oh, no,
I was
they
like,
just agree
fuck.
with me.
I was like, did I just go off the rails right now? Fuck.
Yeah, that's what it is. Very much so. It's just people are very reactionary to what the situation is at the current time and place, as opposed to what it could be even a week from now.
Yeah.
You know, if the Canucks win the next 2 to 3 games, all of a sudden the sky isn't falling, you know?
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's maybe salvageable.
So, yeah, I definitely agree with your take. I think it lines up, you know, pretty much evenly with what I said on Monday as well. Just that idea of, especially with sports, like you just don't know. And at the end of the day, only one team can win the championship per season. You know, like the odds are against you to begin with. It's only so much, you know, only so much.
Yep.
But like I said, we'll talk specifically about Vancouver a little bit later on. We'll get into some other viewer questions as we go through. But in terms of kind of like our general talking points, nothing that can't really be worked into the day by day recapping certain games.
Yeah.
Unless Sin wants to spend 20 minutes like Endo and I did on Monday giving out about NHL 23.
No, I haven't really
Don't do
touched it. Yeah, I haven't really touched it. Like, I'm just like, it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I wasn't super emotionally. Like, I'm just like, if it's shit, then I still pump out the baseline for my channel, which is franchise mode. Like, I gave up on Be a Pro. I didn't even get to the draft because I think I told this already when I was simming through the offseason. I was like, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You actually don't get training reminders. You have to go in there manually every week to do your off ice training and make your fucking player better the way you want to make them play. I'm just like, it's fucking stupid. I'm not bothering going back to repair this save file when I'm not getting great views anyway, because no one cares that Be a Pro is the same for the third year straight. You can't add story mode and just fucking leave it there. Like, are you kidding me?
The will of that community to embrace the mode has been beaten out of them.
Yeah. I was one of the highest spokespeople for Be a Pro. That's honestly was the first thing on my channel that got me good views, like back in NHL 16 or 17, before my franchise modes were really taking off. I was getting 1K plus on Be a Pros, fucking 70 episodes deep.
The good old days, huh?
Yeah.
I'd be fine if they didn't really add anything to it, any additional features this year and overhauled it next year. But the fact that they didn't even add a trader, a training reminder, they didn't add a slider to turn off or turn on the interruptions for your coach or your agent, or an option to make sure that's all text based. Because if you look back at Live the Life, that was a perfect formula. Because whenever you had a cutscene or something like that, it was just a flash screen on there. You had 4 options to pick, or 2 options. It was really simple. It sold the same elements, but I feel like it was.
Yeah, they just made it visually better. Live the Life, and it slows it down too much.
Yeah, it's like the clunkiness from 2K's My Life, or My Rise, whatever the fuck it's called, and it's like that clunkiness just in hockey, and there's no option to skip any cutscene or move faster, so you have to let it all pan through.
Yeah,
if they added the skip cutscene button. Perfect. That's it. Just something to speed it up, because I'm playing NHL 20 and having a better time because I'm able to fly through 4 games in an hour.
Yeah.
Whereas with NHL 2023 and 22 and 21, I'd get through maybe a game in an hour.
Look at what I started. Just mention NHL 23. It's Be a Pro. Shit sucks.
Yeah,
everything sucks. It's the same game. Apparently, they added competitive seasons into the game, and it bugged out Hut Champs. So that's something else too. And another thing, Arbor Jack guy. Apparently, his height and weight have been inaccurate since NHL 20. At least NHL 20. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna check 19.
Time to install 19 and just see
I
how
figured he
far
might have
back
just
it
been
goes.
growing through that years, and they just didn't bother to,
Dude,
update his
I'm gonna
growth.
farm so many Twitter likes. It's gonna be ridiculous. I'm gonna farm it. Fuck it.
The dream.
Y'all like to farm the hut market and get your packs and your pulls and get money to go off, spend it off in Vegas? Fuck yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing, but with Twitter. Clout Chaser, merch available at endomills.ca. I'm not joking, by the way.
So on Monday night, a couple of games took place. Again, not going to talk about everything, but just the big events. The Ottawa Senators beat the Dallas Stars in that game. Both Brady Tkachuk and Shane Pinto each hit their 5th goal of the year in just their 6th game played.
Pinto Bean!
Fucking Shane Pinto, man, is looking rather legit.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of hype for him from Sens fans, and I think, some of that could be viewed as like, oh shit, Sens fans are just really excited, as they should be, because the team's not looking that bad. But then someone like Shane Pinto stepping in, although I do have to shout out the people who are like, oh, if you have him at a 74, he's useless in franchise mode. No, he's not. And by NHL provided roster standards, he would be. Not with mine. Ahem. Ahem. But then again, my rosters don't exist for NHL 23 and probably won't the entire way. But good for the Sens in that Brady Tkachuk doing rather well so far, captain of the team. Shane Pinto stepping into that lineup just gives them more young talent. But they did lose a piece of that young, talented core. Josh Norris, injured shoulder, could miss the rest of the season.
Oof.
As 2 points in 5 games this year, just signed the 8-year extension worth just under $8 million a year.
This is what I was afraid of.
The worst possible timing for both he and the team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because now there's going to be that uh-oh feeling over a newly extended contract. It's not his fault. And at least he has that job secured. It's going to be great. But yeah, didn't start so hot. 2 points in 5 games. That's well below what you want to see out of him, especially now that he's making or going to be. Is he? Did it kick in now?
Yeah, it's the first year of the deal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So since he's going to be making like 8 mil, like you need for 8x8, you're going to need closer to point per game, like minimum 60 points a year. Minimum.
Yeah. Yep. So a really brutal loss for the Sens, and it's just when you think Sens fans can have nice things.
I know. I feel bad for them because I was really pulling for him this year. Like I liked what they did in the offseason. I was hoping they'd pull it together.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And then there's another team in Ontario. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. The Vegas Golden Knights beat the Toronto Maple Leafs on Monday. And yet again, as it's been for the past, what would you say, Endo, 3 or 4 years, there are questions about the effort level. Sheldon Keefe, with 9 minutes left in the third period, was spotted yelling at the team, "We need to fucking skate." This has to be more, to me, from the outside looking in, that's more frustrating than them losing in the playoffs, especially to like a Tampa, knowing how good of a team Tampa is.
Yeah.
Just that idea that despite all their failures and shortcomings, they still just don't seem to give maximum effort for a lot of these games that are winnable games that could set them up better come playoff time.
Yeah.
They don't care. That team does not care. The only people who care on that franchise are the guys who are fighting every night to stay in that lineup, like the Wayne Simmons, the fourth liners, like everyone on there. They're the ones who are trying each and every night. Like look at Jason Spezza was doing a few seasons ago when he joined that lineup with the Leafs. He was like leading that like team by far in like the beginning stretch of the season. Like he was like the point leader or something like that. It was ridiculous. I don't know what it is. Like they've tried everything. They've brought people in. Like I think they're gonna like what do you do? Do you ship these guys out? Do you send them for conditioning stints in the A and then they just completely get like 7 points in a game? Like what do you do as like a general manager right there? Do you have to break it up and send off one of your buddies to some other fucking Timbuktu town to rebuild and get something out there? Like, do you ship a guy like who's even like trade friendly on that team with that big roster? The only one who's like trade friendly is like William Nylander, but he's working harder than Matthews is.
I don't know if it's a trading of a player that sparks them. I don't think it's Sheldon Keefe's fault necessarily. I don't know if he makes it to American Thanksgiving a month from now.
Yeah.
Especially
I
with
don't-
Dubas' ass on the line.
Mm-hmm. That's the issue. Is Kyle Dubas' contract not extended? Pretty much Brendan Shanahan throwing down the gauntlet, saying we need something here, kid. Let's see some results. I don't know if Sheldon, the Leafs aren't terrible so far this season. They're not in the Vancouver situation. Holy shit, the city would have sunk into the fucking ocean by now, and
Oh
it's
my
not even next
God.
to an ocean.
Yeah.
It would have sunk so far into the Earth's core, moved through the core, popped
hit
back
water.
up through the ocean, and then right back down, and Toronto becomes Atlantis. There's no. I just don't see any way how Sheldon Keefe isn't the first one to go in that situation, but I just don't know who that guy is. You did have Barry Trotz saying it would be cool to coach an original six team. I mean, if Barry
Trotz with Toronto, though, that would be interesting.
Stylistically,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like a match, right?
No,
Does not.
but I mean, look at Torts and Philly so far.
Mm-hmm.
How disastrous we thought that could be.
It's like a coach that's going to let Matthews and Marner play like Matthews and Marner works. But at the same time, it's like you do need that full kind of team buy-in. At the same time, we saw Tortorella in Vancouver telling the Sedins sit here and block shots, and that didn't, that lasted a season with Tortorella in Vancouver.
Yeah, not long.
So I can't help but think that Sheldon Keefe's days are numbered with this team. I just don't know what the answer is. I got to be honest. Had he not gone so far with his methods, somebody not overly abusive, if not abusive whatsoever. Mike Babcock, his coaching style theoretically might fit a little bit better than what Sheldon Keefe has done. Not going to happen. Don't want to see him back in the NHL. Joel Quenneville, if you weren't as negligent as you were back in the day and still had a job in the NHL, if the Leafs could get away with it without extremely negative press, I think they'd bring someone like him in at this stage. So it does just kind of seem like Barry Trotz. I don't know, but I look at that team and it's like, how do you still have the same issues that you've had for years now? I can't count how many LFRs from Steve Dangle I've watched where it's like, hey, the team didn't start on time.
Yeah,
Countless.
That's been a pre-Babcock thing though. That's just been
That's
ingrained in Toronto's history. Even when they had Carlisle and then they had all the other guys in between then, and they just didn't show up on time. Is that just a Leaf culture thing? Is that what the passion they've been talking about is?
All the suits are in there. They're the only ones who can afford the fucking tickets, man.
Lower the ticket prices and maybe the team starts playing on time. Is that a trade-off that Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment would take? Who's to say?
Rogers is like, fuck you.
Yeah. It's like, nope. No, we'll keep taking that money. Thank you. I just for my friends that are Leafs fans, Endo Mills included, I just want to see them figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be finally winning a round in the playoffs or not torturing your fan base for 82 regular season games because you don't try until the fucking second period. And then come third period, you might just stop trying again. It's brutal. We'll leave it at that because I feel like I'm making Endo sad. There's no
it's fine.
clear, concise answer. I think it's the same thing.
I've separated myself from the team. I don't identify with it's. I feel weird about sports and people talking about sports. They say, "Oh, we." It's like, are you on the payroll? No, you're not. People say, "Yeah, we're doing so good." It's like, "Oh yeah, we're doing terrible." It's like you're not doing shit. The only thing you're doing is sitting down on your ass and grabbing popcorn like me and just watching the game. You're not contributing at all. They'll be this successful or this terrible with you on their bandwagon or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
I feel attacked right now. Joke's on you. Bruins next cup. I'm going to be right there on a duck boat with Patrice Bergeron. It's going to be a good time. Can you imagine?
Oh, man.
Other game that happened on Monday. I mean, we said we were going to talk about the Canucks. They lost to Carolina 3-2. Andre fucking Svechnikov, 7th goal of the season already. He, keeps this up. You're not talking 30, you're starting to talk 40-50 range, which is cool to see. Someone this highly touted continuing to get better still. Granted, great, supporting cast around him. For the Canucks, JT Miller scored both goals. He hit, 3rd and 4th on the year, so he's not doing too bad. But the Canucks do fall to 0-5-2 on the year. They do have a shitload of injuries. And as a result, their defensive goaltending has been rough. Thatcher Demko started 6 of the 7 games. He has an .872 save percentage. And their backup Spencer Martin had an .879 in his one appearance. Sin, you didn't get to talk about this too much on Monday. Bruce Boudreau sitting on 599 career wins, I believe. Does he hit 600 as the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks? Because
God, I hope so.
Mm.
He was like, damn, it's kind of nuts. Like, we really thought Bruce Boudreau was the answer. Like, he looked so good. I don't know what's happening with these fucking Canadian teams. Like, it seems like every year there's just a crazy, horrible thing happening with these Canadian teams. Yeah. I don't know what the heck it is and why they're always seeming to be run poorly in some way. Like, something's not clicking. I wonder if it's just like a Canadian curse. Like, hey, you won too many cups when there's only 6 teams. Now you got to suffer.
Fair trade. At least Habs fans will say so, I'm sure. No Canadian Stanley Cup winners since 1993. My goodness. Tuesday, Coyotes beat the Blue Jackets 6-3. Shane Gostisbehere scored 2 goals, his 3rd and 4th of the year. Do you guys recall exactly what the terms of the trade happened to be for Shane Gostisbehere?
Don't suck.
Wasn't it? Shit. Who was that? No, wait. I can't. No. But what was it?
The Shane Gostisbehere trade. Coyotes acquire him, a 2022 second-round pick that turned into 36th overall Artem Duda, and a 7th-round pick that turned into number 216 Miguel Turigny. In exchange to Philadelphia, future considerations. They literally gave Shane Gostisbehere away for free, with, I believe, 2 years left on his deal at $4.5 million per.
Wow.
As a Coyote, he has 59 points in 88 games as a defenseman on the Coyotes.
On the rebuilding Coyotes, too. That's another thing, too. Yeah. Rebuilding Coyotes, that many points.
I mean, people always say on bad teams that somebody has to get points, but I mean, damn.
A defenseman? That many?
He's always been solid. It's an interesting thing how he got traded for nothing, like a cap dump. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was a cap dump.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive how he's... Yeah.
So, they'll get something good for him, should they choose to trade him. Or, he'll get paid. He's going to get paid regardless. Good for Shane Gostisbehere. LOL Philadelphia. The main talking point with the Coyotes has been the fact that you guys, I know Endo saw it, so I don't know if you saw it, the clip of the temporary away dressing rooms, which can really be summed up as a series of curtains.
Yeah, I thought they were setting up for Comic-Con.
Well, some might say, when in the book of the Coyotes, these are some real funny pages. Just comics, you see. We tried.
Boo.
We tried. It's literally going to be the setup for 4 games, apparently, like 4 games worth of that, and then the
any chance to dunk on what's happening to the Coyotes, people are going to take it.
Yeah, that they are. I'm still hoping this really works out for them with the arena deal and everything.
Me too.
Just because, again, a point was brought up. I think I mentioned the end of it. It was David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period on Twitter, who mentioned that Tampa, like back in the 90s, there were teams having to get changed in trailers behind the arena because the facilities weren't fully what they needed to be.
Oh
It's
shit.
not the first time this has happened in the NHL. Look at what's happened with the Lightning. They have had much more secure ownership. They have had, in a general sense, a better arena situation. I am trying to remember just how it compares to, say, Tropicana Field for the Tampa Bay Rays, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is on the wrong side of kind of the Tampa St. Pete type of setup there. And yeah, it does look like Amalie Arena. Shout out to Amalie Arena, right next to Davis Island, because that's where you want to be.
Nice.
Davis Island. But yeah, basically, it's something that we've seen before. It's nothing. It's nothing new. It's nothing. It's not great, but it's not the worst, essentially. And yeah, looking at the geography of Tampa and where Amalie Arena is compared to compared to compared to where the Tampa Bay Rays play, it's not surprising that the Lightning have had a little bit more success over the years. Hopefully the Coyotes get there. For the Blue Jackets, Johnny Gaudreau's 5th of the year. He's done well. They have had injury trouble, though. They just lost Adam Boquist, broke his foot. He'll be out for 6 weeks. He's being potentially replaced by 6th overall pick David Yarechek. So, intrigued to see kind of what happens there. Patrick Laine's back from injury, which they desperately needed, because I don't know how outdated the stat is. I'm going to double check, but the headline was out there that the Columbus Blue Jackets started their season 0 for 20 on the power play.
That's like the Sharks a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That is a special kind of bad.
Yeah, I can't remember how much the Sharks went, but I feel like they're almost close to being 0-30 when they had this happen. It might have even been last season. Just the most awful.
Can confirm they are still the only team yet to score a power play goal on the season. They are trying to find the exact number here, but yeah, they are currently the only team on a 0% power play percentage. The best in the league. Any guesses? It's an
Best
obvious
power play?
suspect. Yeah.
Probably the Leafs. No. Oilers. Got to be the Oilers.
Oilers are 4th. Colorado has a 50% power play right now.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's decent,
What are the
penalty,
numbers? What for what?
Oh god, that's what I'm struggling to find on NHL.com, and I don't know why.
It's just showing percentages. That's
Oh, okay. I think I finally found it. I think so. Yeah, NHL.com can be a bit funky. 10 for 20.
That's
for Colorado.
pretty damn good.
The Blue Jackets are confirmed still 0 for 20 on the power play.
Wow.
Oof. Second place, by the way, Chicago. Good for Chicago. Can score on the power play. Cool beans.
Even with Seth Jones leaving the zone for no reason.
That was Patrick Kane yelling at him. Oh, we didn't talk about that on the show, but we should have, because it was goddamn hilarious.
Oh,
so
man.
hopefully for the Blue Jackets, things get better before they get worse. They're another team that's, hasn't quite started off the way they wanted to this year. Endo.
I have an update on the Jack Eye conundrum. In his draft year in the OHL, in his first season, Arbor Jack Eye was listed as a 6'2", 195-pound skater.
So they haven't changed it.
They haven't changed it in 5 fucking years.
Yeah, I figured that was the case. Like, they just had it and he grew and they didn't update it. I fucking knew it.
Please put that out on Twitter.
I'm putting that out on Twitter right now.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you should continue to not make rosters just so EA can see.
Don't put no comment. Explain exactly what it is. And lay it out there that they have not updated someone's height and weight since his draft year. Lay it out there fully. Also on Tuesday, the Boston Bruins beat the Dallas Stars. In our, I was going to say on our show's season previews, not that long ago, I said I was very, very worried about the Boston Bruins. I think justifiably so. We talked about injuries and everything. The Bruins are 6-1-0. Their only loss is to Ottawa. It was on a back-to-back with travel. In this game, Pasternak scored his 5th. Pay the man. Taylor Hall scored his 4th, as did Patrice Bergeron.
Nice.
They did all of this without Charlie McAvoy and without Brad Marchand, who the word was not coming back until November. Word got out that was apparently like what the doctor said, and that was never the plan. As in, like, Marchand had full intentions to be back sooner. He is going to be in the lineup tonight against the Detroit Red Wings. The 6-1 Bruins getting Brad Marchand back earlier than expected. Fucking hell. Like, this team has looked great so far this year. I can't believe it. Linus Ullmark is 5-0 as a goalie with a .936 save percentage.
$4 million
Brings us.
4 mil, absolutely worth. Isn't he making 4?
Yes, I do believe so.
Pretty
Signing
damn
over
good.
Buffalo. It's.
And you know what they say, man? You got like
5
3
mil.
more games. The Bruins play 3 more. Oh, 5 million. Okay.
Yeah. Still
Bruins,
worth it.
Yeah. 3 more games the Bruins play. You'll kind of have an idea of how their season's probably going to go. You know, they always say 10 games is the season essentially, or you can kind of judge. Obviously, there's incredible variables to that, but like oftentimes if you know how your record is in the first 10 games, it's very similar to that sort of thing when that season ends. So
Pens
that's good
fan
for the Bruins. Yeah.
Ask this. It does look very good for the Bruins, and that's kind of where this question comes from. With Marchand coming back, who do you think gets booted out of the lineup? And same for the inevitability of McAvoy's return. Unfortunately for the Bruins, the more than likely option at who gets bumped is AJ Greer. Friend of the show, AJ Greer.
Yeah, young.
Flat out, like his at least from what I've seen, defensive metrics haven't been great. He does have 5 points in 6 games, but he has already been scratched for a game. The Bruins have played 8 games, I do believe.
7
games, excuse me, on the season so far at 6-1.
Yeah.
Presumably he's the one. Otherwise it's 20. Now AJ's 25. Jack Studnicka's the other option at 23. I do believe Stud would have to clear waivers. So it does kind of scream that AJ would be the one to get dropped. And if he is waiver eligible, which I believe he is, he will likely get claimed. I think it would be a massive mistake for a team to not give him a chance. Because again, 5 points in 6 games so far this year.
Yeah. Sharks would lap that up in a heartbeat.
As they shouldn't, actually. Because he would make them better.
Put him on the CUDA. Oh, no, wait. You'd have to clear waivers again. I forgot how the real world works.
The other options, again, I mentioned this, I think, on the last show to Endo. Sent Nick Foligno last year. Now, let's talk this year. Yeah, you know what? Last year. How many goals did Nick Foligno have last year in 64 games?
Oh, my God.
Oh, you're going to laugh.
It's either way less or way more than I think it is. On the Wild, right? What team's he on?
On the
Remind
Bruins.
me.
64 games to the Bruins last year.
He had nothing. Like 10 goals. No. 8 goals.
2.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yep.
Endo had the same reaction on Monday. He had 2 goals, 11 assists in 64 games last year, so 13 points. This year, 4 points in 7 games, has 3 goals already. So he's not the automatic bid to get rid of. Tomasz Nosek has no points in 7 games, but that's not really his job to get offense. And then Craig Smith has 2 points in 5 games. Both, by the way, Foligno and Smith, they combine for a nice $6.9 million on the 4th line.
Nice.
I just can't help but think it would be AJ, unfortunately. And then when McAvoy comes back, which is still, I think, December-ish was the projection. Right side defender. God, probably Zaboral comes out of the lineup.
Ooh, that's tough. Yeah.
That is tough. As it is right now, they have. I mean, it's McAvoy, Lindholm, Grzelcyk, Forbert, Clifton, Zaboral, Carlo, Mike Riley, Anton Strawman. You got 9 defenders that can presumably play in this lineup. So they got some shuffling and some balancing to do, but I presume it would be Zaboral because Connor Clifton is playing some amazing fucking hockey right now. I don't know what happened. This guy's 5'11", 175, and all of a sudden he's just had enough of this shit. He's not going to take it anymore, and he's just started to hit everybody.
I like that. That's cool.
It's from New Jersey, so I don't know. Maybe just embracing his roots. Just fucking, I'm going to hit everybody.
Yeah.
God, also on Tuesday, this one's for Sin. Minnesota beat Montreal 3-1. Shout out to Eriksson Ek, his 3rd and 4th of the year for the Wild. But who scored his 5th of the year for Montreal?
Oliver Wahlstrom.
The superior forward.
Hey, man, I'll call myself that when I have bad takes. Clearly, I had a very bad take a few years ago.
God, not allowed. Canceled forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole Caulfield. They'll constantly, throughout the season, you'll get the Sin update on Cole Caulfield. And throughout the season from me, you'll get the Valeri Nichushkin update because the Avs beat the Rangers 3-2 in a shootout, and Valeri Nichushkin scored his 7th of the year. Sit there. Got to hear from these people. How do you have Valeri Nichushkin as a great player? He's trash. I don't think so. Top tier defenseman as a forward. We call that a Selke candidate, a Bergeron candidate, except he's not better than Bergeron. He never will be. Nobody is. The leading scorer on the Colorado Avalanche in terms of both goals and points. Valeri Nichushkin. Give that man some respect. Damn it. Also on Tuesday, the Kraken beat the Buffalo Sabres 5-1. This is one of the biggest talking points, I'd say. Shane Wright, 4th overall pick. He's played 5 of the 8 games that the Kraken have played this year and is averaging 6 minutes and 50 seconds of ice time. The fuck are they doing to Shane Wright?
Why is he in the NHL with this? I don't get that.
4th line time, as you can tell by the ice time.
Fucking
I don't know if they're trying to drag out the 9-game limit. I saw some people like, oh, maybe they're trying to drag out the 9-game limit up until the World Juniors start or something like that, which the World Juniors don't start for another 2 months.
Yeah, that's weird. Why would they do? Yeah.
You can't send him down to the AHL. If the GM wants him to play, that being Ron Francis, then you need to fire head coach Dave Haxtell because Haxtell is clearly not going to play him. Otherwise, why the fuck is he not back with Kingston in the OHL?
Yeah.
I mean, we were asked a question as well. Say Dave Haxtell gets fired from the Kraken. Which coach could you see fitting in with the Kraken? Why is it Barry Trotz? I like the fact that Barry is the go-to Band-Aid for basically every team right now, as he should be.
Yeah. It won't get better. Shane Wright won't play much under Barry either.
That's true.
Yeah. But Shane Wright should not be on the roster if that's what I don't get that when you get a guy straight out of the draft and you put him in the NHL immediately, but you don't play him in a 6 I don't know. This seems like
the middle 6 rule. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be in that 4th line time, no special teams. Clearly, from that ice time, I can't see him getting special teams time unless he's sitting out shifts and stuff like that. Again, you don't do that. You're gonna he's young, you're gonna wreck his confidence. You're not letting him develop that way. It's weird.
I'm trying to find time on ice leaders. There are 2 rookies who have played less than him in terms of average time on ice. Wow. Mason Shaw for the Minnesota Wild got 1 game, played under 6 minutes. And then Dylan Holloway for the Oilers only played 3 of their games, and he played 5 seconds less than Shane Wright. Shane Wright is getting played less than Cole Kopke for the Lightning, Ben Myers for the Avalanche. I mean, shit, not that he's getting a ton of time, but even Vitaly Kravtsov's getting 8 minutes for the the New York Rangers. And then at the high end, in terms of time on ice, obviously you have a lot of defensemen. I mean, shit, Owen Power is playing 22 minutes a night for the Buffalo Sabres already. Jordan Harris and Caden Gooley for the Habs are both playing 20 minutes a night already. And also for Seattle, like I know we got a couple of games with them last year, but Matty Beniers is getting 18 minutes a night, has 6 points in 8 games. What are you doing with Shane Wright? You can sit there and look up and down the ice time, the average ice time for some of these younger guys, and there aren't too many guys with a top 4 selection pedigree like Shane Wright that's being utilized this infrequently and, dare I say, this poorly.
Very poorly. You don't do this with a young kid out of the draft. This makes no sense. Like this is how to immediately make him question and himself and his ability. Like you're not going to understand yet. He's still kind of riding high from the momentum of being drafted and being an NHLer that like, yeah, either, you know, yeah, I again, it's a trial clearly, but why not just play him 9 games in a row? Get more fucking development. Like I think the Sharks did that with Eklund, like sat him 1 game and I can't remember why exactly, but anyway, doesn't matter.
Kraken fans, tell us what we're missing here because I don't get it.
Neither do I. It's wow.
The LA Kings beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-2. Both Adrian Kempe and Gabe Velarde each scored their 5th of the year. Kings are only 4-4 on the year, but I still really like that roster. And out of the California teams, they're certainly the strongest at this stage. That's not saying much.
Whoa. Yeah, no. Yeah, they are.
Well, it's funny because it brings us
do they have a Trevor Zegras? Don't think so.
Well, it's funny because on Wednesday, since you mentioned the Ducks lost to the Lightning 4-2 for their 6th straight loss. Anaheim. Yeah. That pond water's looking kind of murky.
Yeah, they need to start winning more so the Sharks can be below them.
Yeah, because the Sharks lost to the Golden Knights, putting the Sharks at 2-7.
We'll beat them to help them miss the playoffs. That's the only time we care about it.
Yeah. Putting the Sharks at 2-7 on the season. We'll talk about what else happened in that game a minute from now. San Jose, in terms of point percentage, by the way, number 1 team in the league in terms of point percentage, your Boston Bruins. San Jose, on points percentage, currently above both Anaheim and Vancouver.
God damn it.
Never would have thought that. Sure, it's 7 games for the latter 2. San Jose's played 9. Never would have thought that 2 teams with playoff aspirations like Anaheim and Vancouver would have gotten off to this bad of a start where they're up or where they're below not only San Jose, but the Arizona Coyotes as well.
Yeah, and San Jose is almost, honestly, clearly tanking even though they're saying the complete opposite. But this is such a clear tank job. I'm here for it. I'm sure it's not, I don't know. Maybe it isn't, and they really expect some of these veterans to carry this goddamn team. What is surprising is Timo Meier not fucking scoring yet. I'm cool about that. I'm like, hell yeah, lower AAV. Let's go.
I believe I saw some sort of stat line where he has more shots to the first 9 games of a season than anybody else in like NHL history, or at least recent history.
Or Timo?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. The effort's there. Again, that's another thing I'm worried about. Please don't drive these guys off. Let's just make this the one bad year, get Bedard. But that's the other thing. This is kind of the only chance the Sharks have the tank, because they are 100% playing Bordelot and Eklund in the AHL on purpose. The Barracuda are kicking ass right now, by the way. They're like 4-0. Maybe 5-0. So all those young kids, they're going to be there. That's where the culture is being built right now. And a lot of people can't see the bigger picture here, but so yeah, it's going to be a tank year. They're leaving all those guys down there intentionally to not let them, get polluted by that room. And then all of a sudden you're going to bring those guys up with that new culture that they're talking about, with that new kind of tenacity and stuff like that. And they're going to be more than ready for the NHL when they get there. This is kind of the one year the Sharks will be ultimate tankers. After this, they have to go back to probably just trying. and throwing things at the wall. Now that you got Eklund, Borderlow, you start having more pieces. You got to capitalize on the tail end of Couture, Carlson. You got to capitalize on the prime of Meyer and Hurdle. Like, kind of got one shot at this. We hope we get Bedard, but it's going to be a strong draft class anyway. So top 5, I'm happy.
And bring back number 1 goaltender James Reimer after trading him at the deadline. Give him the big money in free agency after getting something for him at the deadline.
I don't know if I ever would see that happening. He's 35, but I mean,
I'd pay him $10 million a season.
What?
I would never pay any.
Who would you rather pay $10 million a season to, James Reimer or Sergei Bobrovsky?
I mean, technically James Reimer, but I wouldn't pay that to a goaltender ever.
Fair enough. I rest my case. Also wanted to, speaking of goalies, Islanders shut out the Rangers last night. Ilya Sorokin had a 41 save shutout, which is gross. And the Islanders finally getting goals from both Kyle Palmieri and Josh Bailey. So that's cool. You know, key players like 5-6 games into their season finally getting their first goals. Everything's going great for the Islanders.
God, I wish that were me.
So our final talking point, because who else could we possibly on this show talking about? In that Sharks game against the Golden Knights that saw the Sharks fall to 2-7 on the year,
Woo.
a certain man who has that dog in him. Although there was a Photoshop that said he has that hot dog in him.
Yes.
That's so stupid.
I
love it. Oh, man.
Philip J. Hot Dog. Phil Kessel, Boston Bruins legend, Toronto Maple Leafs legend, 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Pittsburgh Penguins, has become the NHL's new Iron Man, with 990 consecutive regular season games played in, passing a very short-lived record from one Keith Yandel.
Mm-hmm.
Also scored his 400th career goal in the same game. I don't have too much to add, aside from the fact that Phil Kessel is an American hero.
Jesus
I think it's
Christ.
incredible that he has the Iron Man streak and he's like not in great shape, how we perceive great shape for any athlete.
Well, I mean, like, Phil has like natural strength. There's a story that came out of one of the BioSteel camps where like he was sitting down just reading a magazine.
He was created in a lab.
One of the invitees was like, "Hey, do you want to come work out with us?" He's like, "You want to see what I really can do?" And then kicks their ass in the leg press, and then just walks back and goes back to reading his fucking magazine. That dude is like the epitome of like the beer leaguer who like is that good and doesn't even need to like work out or anything.
Making an analogy of Phil Kessel being like the beer leaguer was a choice.
He is like the premier level beer leaguer who like kind of like gets you just fuck around kind of.
He is the guy that shows up to a beer league game and you're like, this guy's gonna suck, but he's a potential Hall of Famer.
That is exactly what I mean. That's probably the best way to put it.
I had a point I was gonna make. Now I fucking forgot. Oh yeah, it's like Dan Boyle. Dan Boyle literally was like, "Yeah, I never stretch." Like everyone's surprised. Like, wait, you don't stretch or anything? He's like, "No, I never do." You know who stretches? All the guys that are injured all the time, and that's why I don't stretch. He's like Marty Havlat, all these other.
Dan Boyle probably quoted in 2008 as saying that at the ripe age of 78, all these youngsters with the stretching, he was quoted in saying that sitting in the back of the locker room smoking a cigar.
True hockey player. When hockey player were men.
God damn it. Handling his other job of, smoking a cigar and carving up meat at the deli.
Oh yeah. When is hockey gonna get that? Because when you see the Jordan clips, all the LeBron people are like, yeah, well, he was playing against like grocery baggers and plumbers. Like, why hasn't hockey ever had that thing? Like, oh, Wayne Gretzky was playing against fucking butchers and truck drivers. Needs to happen. Though. Someone's going to start the trend. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to piss off every single old head on Twitter.
Wayne Gretzky overrated?
Question mark. Wayne Gretzky won his cups against plumbers.
God. Yeah, as we kind of wait to see here if Sin lost his connection. Even if he did, it's okay. Endo, I mean,
what? Am I not good?
You know, Phil Kessel, Toronto Maple Leaf for quite a while, to
Legend.
say the least.
Legend. I don't care. That man brought a cup to Toronto. Technically he did. He brought it to Sick Kids, which is like a pretty decent radius away from Air Canada / Scotiabank Arena. So I consider it that him bringing the cup to Toronto. It's probably gonna be the only time it ever happens. But yeah, hats off to you. Amazing. I love how he scored his 400th goal against the Leafs, along with Michael Amadio. But they called it back in true Leaf fashion. They always have to get the last fucking laugh. And then this last game, he gets it back. It's perfect.
394 points as a Toronto Maple Leaf, 126 as a Bruin. The 2 cups as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll find out if Sin has audio. Worst case scenario, he can hold that face.
It's popping up on my end. Yeah, it's popping
Not
up.
popping up on mine. So we will go on to the presumption that Sin no longer has audio. But for those of you on the video portion, enjoy his pretty face as we look to wrap up the show here with the collective Phil Kessel for Hall of Fame. Damn it. I mean, probably not. Let's be honest. I mean, he hasn't broken 1,000 points in his career, and he might not. He's at 959 at this point in time, but I certainly hope that it happens. Yeah, 5th overall pick by the Bruins in 2006. Hasn't missed a game since. Fucking cancer survivor, too, at the same time. Phil Kessel is the fucking man. That is the best way to end this particular show, by stating that fact boldly, full chest. Phil Kessel is the fucking man. As Sim for the Win continues his interpretive dance, you can, of course, find him on YouTube, Sim for the Win Productions. For some franchise content, you can also catch him on my channel. On my channel, playing some NHL 2K10. A great hockey game. The greatest hockey game. But yeah, Tougie24, you know that. Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. Endo Mills, at Endo Mills. On Twitter, on Twitch, streaming NHL 20 Be a Pro, because NHL 23 makes him want to cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Just, yeah.
That's it. We'll see you next week, everybody. Hopefully there's a little bit more to talk about. Hopefully nothing overly controversial. You'd say something like, hey, hopefully there's something to talk about, and the fucking monkey paw curls. So let's not hope too strongly. But Phil Kessel, he's a goddamn hero. And the Boston Bruins are going to win the Stanley Cup. I said it. Fire Shelton Keefe. He seems nice, though. but do it. Bye.